I recently went out into the woods in West Virginia to pick some ramps. These are some very interesting vegetables. They have almost like a garlic onion type of taste to them. They smell like onions. It's a good time foraging for them because they look very unique. They can be spotted quite easily if you know what you're looking for. Just be careful when you are foraging that you don't run into the look-alike known as lily of the valley. This is a deadly poisonous plant if it is consumed. Lily of the valley has like a swirl shape to it, and it goes down into the stems, which is quite different from ramps with their individual leaf appearance. An easy way to tell these apart is just by crushing the leaf or tearing the leaf, and you can get this onion or garlic aroma from ramps. When you do smell that, you know that you're safe and you have the plant that you want to be foraging for. Lily of the Valley does not have this scent. Now in this video, you will see me digging deep to get the bulb and root clusters. After doing some research and only picking a very small amount of these, I've learned that I should not be collecting the root clusters. Leaving the roots in the ground and the bulbs themselves seems to be the best practice. Leaving those root clusters can give the ramps a better chance of returning the next season. So in the future, I will be only taking above the bulb and not the bulbs themselves. I also recommend, if you are foraging for these, that you only take a few out of each of these patches. I have 3 on my property, and I'll only take about 4 or 5 individual ramps out of the ground from those clusters at a time. I only take the mature ones also, just so I can be sure that the rest of them are going to grow to their full potential. So taking those mature ones meaning the most broad-leafed. But I would like to highlight how important it is to not pick all of them in a patch. Over foraging an area can lead to ramps not coming back the next season, or coming back in a much less populated manner. So be careful when you are foraging, and if you're doing it on public land, leave some for other people to forage. Leaving the root clusters is good practice, and not disturbing the soil as much as you can. According to University of Wisconsin-Madison horticulture website, ramps are considered a vegetable. They're commonly known as ramps, but they are also sometimes called wild leeks, spring onion, or rampsum, and they are frequently collected and sold at farmers markets or served in upscale restaurants in the spring as a delicacy for that strong garlic-like odor and sweet spring onion taste. They are a member of the onion family, according to this website. The species is native to rich, moist, deciduous forests and bottoms of eastern North America, from Quebec to South Carolina, and west to Minnesota in zones 3 through 8. The main habitat you can find them in is in forests dominated by birch, sugar maple, and poplar, but they are also found naturally under beech, linden or basswood, hickory, and oak. They're typically found in association with other wildflowers, including bellwort, bloodroot, ginseng, mayapple, trout lily, and trillium. Apparently, indigenous peoples referred to the area around the southern part of Lake Michigan by the name they used for the dense colonies of this plant that grew there in the 17th century as Chickagawuni or Chicago, which Europeans pronounced as Chicago. The scientific name for ramps is Allium trichocum. It's a perennial herbaceous plant that grows from a bulb. These conic bulbs are covered with a fibrous mesh and have thick, fleshy, white roots from the base of the bulb. They're strongly rooted just beneath the surface of the soil. They grow in groups as the bulbs continue to offset to enlarge the colonies. They're easy to distinguish from other similar-looking woodland plants by the distinctive onion scent that emanates if a leaf is torn or bulb is cut. In the spring, each bulb sends up 2 or 3 smooth, light green basal leaves that may be tinged with purple on the lower portion of the stem from the scallion-like stalk. The broadly lance-shaped leaves with smooth edges, reminiscent of tulip leaves, are tightly furled at first, but then expand and open to a wide, up to 3.5 inches across, flat blade that narrows toward the base. The foliage grows up to 8 inches high before dying back in early summer as the tree canopy leafs out to shade the ground. A skinny, smooth, leafless flower stalk, often reddish to maroon, especially at the base, with a papery sheath at its base, appears at the time or just after the leaves have died back, with the flowers blooming in early summer. The terminal spherical inflorescences, or umbels, can be up to 1.5 inches across, with 25 to 50.25-inch long, creamy or greenish-white flowers, and 2 papery bracts at the base of the cluster. Each tiny flower has 3 sepals and 3 slightly longer petals surrounding the 6 stamens with pale yellow anthers and a single white style. Many types of native bees and syrphid flies will visit the flowers to obtain nectar and or pollen. The small flowers are often overlooked when other, more conspicuous woodland flowers are present. After pollination in late summer, a single small, hard, shiny black seed develops in each of the locules of the 3-celled seed capsules on the leafless stalk, where they may persist through the winter. The seeds eventually fall to the ground near the original plant, so that dense colonies often form. A warm, moist period is required to break root dormancy, and a subsequent cold period to break shoot dormancy, so the seeds may have to go through 2 winters before seedlings appear in the spring if the initial fall season is not long enough and moist enough. Both the leaves and lower white leaf stalks are edible. They're very pungent, so can be used sparingly. They were traditionally consumed as the season's first greens and are popular in a number of regional cuisines. The flavor is described as a combination of onions and strong garlic, which combines well with many other foods. This plant is celebrated at many annual spring ramps festivals throughout the mountainous regions of the eastern U.S. and other areas, especially in Appalachia, where ramps are widespread and common, with tremendous numbers of wild plants gathered from nearby forests. The intensive harvesting for these types of events and their increasing use in restaurants is seriously damaging the wild populations of ramps in some areas, as they are being harvested in unsustainable quantities. Ramps grow best in shady areas with damp soil throughout the year, not just the growing season, and highly organic soil with plenty of decomposing leaf litter. They tolerate full to partial shade and medium wet to medium dry soil. To cultivate these plants, grow from seed, bulbs, or young plants. Since seed germination can take up to 18 months, and plants may not get large enough to harvest for 7 years, the latter is often preferred. Bulbs can be purchased or transplanted in early spring to obtain harvestable plants in 2 to 3 years, from large, greater than 1/2 inch in diameter bulbs. Transplantation can also be done in the fall as long as the soil is kept moist until the ground freezes. Bulbs should be placed about 3 inches deep in the soil and transplants placed in the original depth. Seeds, bulbs, or plants should be mulched with 2 or 3 inches of composted hardwood leaves or natural leaf litter. Plant ramps along with other native species, such as wild ginger or black cohosh, that will grow later in the season to cover the area after the leaves die back. When harvesting ramps, for either eating or transplanting, use care not to damage the bulbs. This website has been written by Susan Marr, University of Wisconsin-Madison. All credit should be passed on to this website for the information.